Hey everybody, hope everybody is doing well. Well, I just have to tell you that really the Democrats at the federal level has really been exposed of who they truly are, whether it's the Muslims or AOC or Pelosi. But it's also happening at the state level. And again, I'm not trying to take sides of any party, but the Democrats have really gone insane nowadays. And I guess it really just shows that they're really falling apart. The legislature, when I go there every other day or so, deliver my testimony, they're just so shady. They're just so pushy and intolerant. And I just have to tell you that it comes to no surprise that many of these elected officials are criminals. They are fraudsters. They don't care about you. And they have been scheming a lot of the system for their own benefit. And let's take a look at what we have here. Now you can see here, this guy, Kelvin Atkinson, pleaded guilty for wire fraud, basically taking campaign funds into his own personal use. Now, what is astonishing is that the federal government, I believe, is what investigated this. It wasn't necessarily the people of the state. You know, one of the problems of living in the state, especially in the Las Vegas area, is that people don't tend to fight back. They tend to accept things the way they are, and they just basically suck it down their throat. And I think that has to change. You see, I don't think you really need a daddy or somebody to really investigate what in the world is going on. Now, I'm about to change that, believe it or not. But now it's important to know is how is it that these people continue, believe it or not, get elected? Now think about that. How is it that they continue to be put into office? Now, in my honest opinion, I believe that these people get in is largely due to identity politics, I assume. Because as you can see here, he's an African-American guy. And his district covers north central part of the Las Vegas Valley. And that's where a lot of the African-Americans live. So as long as he himself, just like many other corrupt politicians that use identity politics, whether it's Ruben Kihuen, whether it's Cortez Masto, whether it's the ones especially in California like former state senator Kevin De Leon, they use identity politics to get elected, which I believe this guy did, just scream, oh, it's racism, elect me. We have kind of like a Maxine Waters of Nevada, her name is Patricia Spearman, and I'll have videos of her blasting me. But anyway, they use these kinds of things to get elected. And chances are the typical voter doesn't really seem to look at this stuff. And one of the results of that, of course, is that they put their corruption behind the scenes. This is why identity politics is dangerous, because they can just mention things to look good. Deep down inside, they don't care. They don't actually have true policy in mind. Just like what happened with the recent town hall where Kamala Harris, by the way, supported by Patricia Spearman, and she was just mainly using identity politics. And I actually interviewed her supporters, and I'll make a video about that pretty soon. And so you can see here all these donors right here, believe it or not, and all of this shady transactions. Now, what is really astonishing, believe it or not, is that what about the people that are planning to replace Atkinson? So just because some corrupt person goes does not mean necessarily that the replacement is going to be better, believe it or not. You see, they can always pump in some other establishment piece of garbage. The corporation can give them huge amounts of money. The real elephant in the room, in my opinion, are the corrupt elements of the casino hospitality sector and the unions, particularly unions, organizations like Culinary, the SEIU, and the list goes on. They need to be exposed of who they are. They're anti-American. But they're using this primarily to get more votes. And of course, if we get a new one who is probably going to be even worse, well, it's just going to be a laughing show. But here is really, really the problem. Again, this is why I believe the politicians want the open borders. They want to do so is because they can fill up their districts, they may get votes, canvassing, welfare programs to shove even more corruption down our throats. And we, the American people, of course, pay for all this crap. And again, these politicians don't really have town halls open to the public. They really don't care about you. And the sad part about this, of course, you can get up to 20 years in prison, believe it or not. And this, of course, just happened to City Council member of Las Vegas, Ricky Barlow, believe it or not. So again, all these things you have to understand. But the point is that this is really embarrassing the Democratic Party. Now the question is, will they be as successful in 2020? I don't know. Certainly there's a lot of voter fraud, and certainly some of you can argue that the Republican base is shrinking or losing support because, of course, you can see what's happening at the border. Promises are not being met. Now, then again, of course, Democrats are really getting embarrassed from all this. And I don't think it will just be this individual. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see people like, perhaps, Aaron Ford. He could be doing a lot of shady things. Steve Sisolak, Patricia Spearman. The list goes on. And I wouldn't be surprised that Brian Sandoval has done a lot of shady things. I suggest you all research the Icon scandal. I haven't really looked at that too far. But then again, like I said, the third African American and the first openly gay majority leader. See, again, this is all identity politics. And you can see that Nicole Canizaro, basically look at her top donors, Tom Steyer, MGM Resorts International. This basically shows who these people truly are, man. It is really, really sad. Really, really sad. And of course, you need to confront these people. You need to show these people who they are. You need to embarrass them. Give them hell. And by the way, I'm going to mention this in the testimony next week. So you need to start doing this. And again, if you don't take this system down, it is going to eat you. It is going to tear you apart. Now, I urge you all to share this video and do what you can to make sure that there's true justice and we get better people in charge. But again, it's not just really who's in charge, it's how the people respond to this. Because if the people really fight back, then these politicians will get really embarrassed, and you're going to start seeing, obviously, a lot of really resignations and embarrassment. So, take care, everyone. Have fun.